Head coach Pete Carroll's kind enough to join us. Coach, unfortunately, we have to begin with the passing of Mrs. Davis, Carol Davis, not only the impact that she had on this organization, but the entire NFL.
Yeah, I think she was, a classic example of a woman being in a great position and having enormous impact and effect on such an organization that's kind of male-oriented and all that. The matriarch, the first lady of the Raiders. I mean, all of that beautiful stuff. I know it's a tough loss, and Mark is dealing with it, but the whole Raider Nation should feel it.
Thank you for that. One of the reasons this studio was built was George Atkinson was one of our first broadcasters and one of the great Raider players of all time
Soul
from the
Patrol.
AFL and Soul Patrol. And he was around the organization a lot. You saw him in the building there. It's a tragic loss for this organization, one of Mark Davis's best friends.
Yeah, and they go way back, all the late 60s and 70s. Those are years when I was following the Raiders as a kid, growing up and all that. And I know that Mark and George were so close, and he had such great impact, and what a big effect he had on our history. And so, it's a big loss.
All right, coming off the Kansas City loss evaluations, can you tell our fans what that process was like as you evaluated the Kansas City tape, but then you looked at the changes that need to happen to get this rolling?
Yeah, well, the bye comes at a time for us that was crucial, and we need all the help we can get as a new team putting this together. And we had to take some hard lessons in this one. They performed really well. They got away with the mistakes that they did make that we could have taken advantage of and didn't, and were able to control us really on both sides of the football. So we ran up against a real buzzsaw in this thing. It did indicate to us that there's some things we need to continue to grow at and add to what we're doing and take away from what we're doing. And it'll really be a different game next time we play them if Max is playing for us full speed and Brock is playing for us full speed, and we can use those two key players as instruments for our success and make them have to deal with us. We miss those guys in this game, and they're such a talented group, and they're so well experienced and grooved at what they do. And he's done a marvelous job, and they did the Patrick Mahomes on us. He had a typical game for himself. Scrambled really well, made great decisions, threw the ball really short and underneath, but highly effective, and they just controlled the football game.
As you wait to get players back, you get Lonnie Johnson back, Brock, Max, you mentioned here. So this is a big week on the injury report, even coming off the bye. So what's that conversation like with the trainers and the doctors and the players as you get ready for Jacksonville?
Well, there's been a lot of projections for when these guys would return. Max's thing kind of popped up here just in a week. But with Lonnie getting back out there, he's a big factor to us as we were building the early aspects of the defense. I would love getting him back. He may make it back this week, he may not. We'll see. He's practicing this week, though, so for sure next week he should make it back. Max should be back in action. We're going to give him a couple days here because he had back spasms that he really couldn't even get started in the game. He tried and did everything he could valiantly, but couldn't go. But to get Brock back is a really big deal. We've had Brock really full speed for 3/4 of one game,
right,
and that's been it. And he fought through it as much as he could. He kind of got banged on his knee about 3 games through that, trying to hang in there, and it knocked him out for a while. So when you lose your very top players, it can be really obvious. In our team in particular, it was. To see us playing defense without Max's factor out there, to see us playing offense against a really talented defense without Brock being out there trying to control at least the middle of the field and make people have to defend him, it affects every aspect of our game. And unfortunately, it was a bad ball game for us.
What can you tell us about the timeline of Tyler Lockett? Obviously, as a player, you trust him, but why now, considering where he could have came to this organization, and now you get him coming off the bye week? What's the backstory?
Well, he had to make a decision back then, and he did when we started, but it didn't work out, and it didn't work the way he had hoped for it to. And so it was really with high hopes for him and high hopes for us that we can make a good connection here. It's a lot to ask a guy to jump in and be a regular player in a week's time, but he's going for it, and we'll see what happens by the end of the week. He was in here over the weekend as soon as he found out that he was going to be a Raider, and He's a marvelous football player. He's a tremendous person. He's one of the real natural ball players. He's got great sense and feel and has always demonstrated that. And Gino knows him really well. They've played together for quite some time, and there's a chemistry between them that maybe can give us a little edge that we haven't had with the younger guys that have been playing. We'll see what happens, and we'll hold out good hopes for this to help us. I'm really excited for Tyler to be with us again in a place where people love him and know who he is and what he's all about, and hopefully our fans will be able to see that.
What have you, and especially Chip Kelly now, after the evaluation of Gino, coming up to the bye week and after, what can the fans expect from Gino to get going now with all the weapons he has and maybe some of the players he has coming?
Yeah, it's a different look for us to have Brock out there. Brock and Jacoby, they're a 1-2 punch for you. And so that's an important aspect of putting this thing back together. We just haven't been at full strength. The running game is going to continue to be a concern for us, that we can keep that balanced so that we can keep multidimensional and make sure that they have to defend the running game. I think Ashton's done a fantastic job of getting his rookie season started with, I think, some big blowout games coming and some big runs coming that'll affect the game. And so that'll be a big part of what we're doing. But we need to just mix it all and make sure that we can use everybody effectively. And Chip is really good at doing that, so I'm hoping we can show that to our fans.
Yeah, that's my follow-up. I'm happy you mentioned that with Ashton. It's his first NFL bye week. A young player in this league, when the holes are open, he's hitting them. When they're not, he's getting hit from behind the line of scrimmage. I think he probably needed a little bit of a break here. Those legs are still fresh, and he can carry them.
Oh yeah, he's a young buck out there. He can go. He practices really hard every day, and he's in great condition and all of that. It's just the consistency that we need to find, and he is. I think he's already shown us that he's improved and he's ready to go. We just need to get him his space and get him his chances to score. He'll do that.
Let's move to Jacksonville. Second in takeaways, 2 per game. This is a team that really turns the ball over well, especially when it comes to interceptions.
Yeah, they came out ahead. I think they had 10 turnovers in the first 3 games. They really were on fire, and it got them, like it always does, it gets you your wins. And so we can't let them have the football. It's just we just got to keep hold of it, make sure we throw it in the right spots, and don't give them the football, because that's where their successes come from, which is no surprise. That's how the game works.
Brian Thomas Jr. had a big game here last year, and now they add Travis Hunter, and they haven't gotten him going the way they want to, but he had his best game last week.
Yeah, well, there's nobody that has higher expectations than for Travis, with all of his background and the great play. He's a tremendous athlete. He's not just a good, fast kid, that can play ball. He's got great instincts. That's why he can play on both sides of the football. I remember asking him in the combine, are you worried about playing both ways? He said, heck no, I've always played both ways. He wasn't even concerned about it. That's the guy that has the kind of savvy and awareness that makes him unique and special, and is why they went so hard after getting him, and he's right in the centerpiece of their offense in particular. Defense, maybe they're cutting back a little bit on that, but offensively he did really well last week. He's not just a catch guy, he's a catch and run guy, and he blocks you as well. He's got a good mentality about him. When
Trevor Lawrence came out of Clemson and you saw his size and his deep ball, and he struggled that time. Some days he has big games, others he doesn't. What concerns you about him in the pocket? Because he can get sneaky fast outside the pocket, but when it's clean, he can make every throw.
Yeah, he's fast, and he's got a knack for escaping and scrambling. We just got through maybe the most productive scrambler in the history of the game, but with Mahomes last week. So we'll be ready for that part of it. But he does have all the big throws in him, and they have an offense that has a big expanse to it. They will work the ball down the field. They will play action you. They put him on the perimeter and on the run with the idea that he can keep it and get out. And he is an effective scrambler, like he showed, beating Kansas City the other night. So he hasn't always been on everything, but he can do all of it. And so he's a great threat, and we have to really be ready for this.
Travis Etienne, 5.3 per carry, so they can hand it off to him on second down, third down, and he has a nose for picking up the first down. How does your defensive interior and linebackers have to get to him to slow him down?
Yeah, I don't think it will start JT anywhere but in the running game. We can't let them run the football, and then all of their play passes and their boots and the things on the perimeter they like to do come to life. So it starts with the running game, and they've shown a willingness to stay with it and to stick with it and hammer the football at you. The Panthers game comes to mind that they really ran the ball very consistently, and so Etienne is a really good football player, and he can break the long one. He's busted some long runs already. It's where the big average comes from. So it's a well grooved, skillful offense, and so we have to take care of business there.
What do you see with Liam Cohn and his style? A first year coach here who's trying to figure it out here, and he's off to a good start in
Well,
Jacksonville.
he comes out of the tree of the Shanahan and McVay tree, and so there's a lot of similarities in how those guys coach their football. Really deep beliefs. Those guys started with a great foundation, and they've passed it on to a lot of young coordinators, and so that's what we're seeing from Liam for sure. Did a really nice job at Tampa, and they're out to get it. They got off to a good start. Now they're trying to get back on track too. So we have a lot of respect for what they know and what they do, and how they'll game plan for us.
Last one, Coach, to the fans now. They're back home at Allegiant Stadium, off the bye. They want to get rolling here. You have an opportunity to get something going. What can you say to that?
They were great last time in, and they responded the way we needed to them against the Titans. And this is an effective place to play. The place works well, and so we need all the sounds we can get, and we need to create it by our play, like I always tell you. And hopefully we can continue to work together and start to build something here.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you very much.